had gone wide open throttle with this Turbo Hayabusa several times because of how lean it was running at the top end, it would have definitely blown up. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculously fast. Oh my god! Oh my god, dude. It comes on boost and it just wants to take off into space. Good morning, everyone. We are here today getting the Turbo Hayabusa dyno tuned, making sure we get the fuel and air mixtures correct so that the bike doesn't blow up. It's running pretty good on the base map, but we're here at an undisclosed location today in Hill Country, Texas, getting it on the dyno, getting it all sorted, and yeah, we'll see how it runs after these runs. Alright guys, status update on the Turbo Hayabusa. So it turns out it is running pretty lean up at the top end, so we are trying to dial that in with the map. It turns out that we actually need to set the fuel pressure regulator to the correct fuel pressure on the actual kit, so that way we can actually get the map to be in the correct numbers and all that. So right now we're going to make sure the fuel pressure is set correctly, make sure that our AFRs are all looking good, and we'll kind of keep going from there. My dyno guy who's helping me out with this tuning actually told me that if I had gone wide open throttle with this Turbo Hayabusa several times because of how lean it was running at the top end, it would have definitely blown up. So glad it didn't blow up, glad everything is good, glad that I did not have the courage to go wide open on the Turbo Hayabusa up at the super top end of the rev range, because it's genuinely very scary to do so. But yeah, we're going to keep going. Right now we're sitting at about 225 wheel horsepower and 140 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty awesome. But you know, the best thing we're trying to do here is make sure that it's reliable, it runs well, and that we can have a bike that works. So let's get after it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the Hayabusa has been dyno tuned. So even though it still looks bad, it no longer runs bad, which is great. Thanks again to Lance Davis out here in Spicewood for helping me out. I actually left his place and was about to start the vlog, and I noticed that my coolant was boiling over because we forgot to actually tune it at idle. We only tuned it for the actual poles, but now I went back. We actually richened up the mixture at idle so it no longer is going in the red when it's just sitting there at a traffic light or something. And now we're going to get it out on the road and I guess try to do a couple pulls and just talk about how it feels to ride and stuff. Oh my god, this bike is genuinely scary to ride. Genuinely a very frightening motorcycle, because we still have to do all the other stuff to it. We have to, you know, sort out the tires, sort out the brakes, get everything else, put a windshield back on it because it doesn't even have a windshield on it. But now, as you can tell, the temp gauge sits nice and in the middle. So let's get after it, shall we? This is a good test for the idle. Yeah, it looks like it's finally sitting there pretty good. First gear is basically useless on this motorcycle. There's so much power and torque. It is now making, at the wheel, 242 horsepower and and 140 foot-pounds of torque, if I remember the dyno chart correctly. So it's just making an unbelievable amount of power. Truly unbelievable. This is third gear. God! Oh, that wasn't even wide open. I'm too scared to wide open throttle it. It's so much. Yeah, that's fast. That's so much torque. And you can feel it. You bury into it. Oh my God, man. Oh. I don't have words. God damn. To put this into perspective, this bike makes at the wheel 60 more foot-pounds of torque than an R1. It's making Rocket 3 levels of torque, but with 240 wheel horsepower. So that's like if someone sold you at the factory a bike that makes 265 horsepower claimed. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculously fast. And you only feel it when you start building on the boost. God damn, it's fun. That's what makes it cool too, is this is actually a fun bike, and it adds to the spirit of the Hayabusa. It's just so rad. Because if you want, you can click it down a couple gears. I'm in 6th gear now, just cruising at 4,000 RPM. This feels like a regular Hayabusa. This doesn't feel like some insane motorcycle. You still get that excellent stability. Suzuki really overbuilt this motorcycle. It's kind of like the Toyota Supra of the bike world, and that the bike is so ridiculously capable of the power it already had from the factory. You can slap on a turbo and it's still a Hayabusa. It still feels like a Hayabusa, and it's still lovely to ride. Supremely stable at speed. Suzuki knew what they were doing when they built this bike. I mean, the thing is capable of 200 miles per hour, and I don't doubt it, not one bit. Oh my God, it's so fast. It's so fast. It's so much faster than it has the right to be. I think this must be 4th gear. No gear indicator on this. I'm trying to see if I got a little clear runway here. Got a little bit. Oh, that was wide open. Oh, that wasn't even close to redline though. You gotta work your way up into it. It's so frightening to ride. Ah, this thing's crazy. My heart rate is pounding. Oh my God, man. Absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal motorcycle, man. I'm so happy I have this. This isn't a giveaway bike. I get to own this motorcycle. One of my favorite things about it too is because there's so many modifications made to the fuel system and the reroutings and replumbings. We basically have the fuel injection light permanently on, and it has a little FI. And I like to think that it stands for forced induction. I think that's what the FI means. This thing is so cool, and I can't wait to finish it and put all the supporting modifications and get new tires on it and stuff, because it's literally on like 4-year-old Q4s right now, or Q3 pluses. I'd love to get like a little more grip out of the tire. I'd love to get the windshield back on and just tuck in and get it wide open and just feel the almighty power of this bike, because it is almighty power. My God, this thing's fast. It's stupid fast, man. Running cool as the top, sitting right there in the middle of the temp gauge. Feel real good about that. Man, this bike is incredible. The sense of speed, the sense of power. I mean, there's basically no downsides to turbocharging your Hayabusa. There's really not, as far as I can tell. This is my first real ride on it. It still needs a bunch of stuff. It's not anywhere close to ready, but it can run and ride correctly now, and it feels really good. There's no downsides to turboing your Hayabusa. There's literally not. You've just added to the experience. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that I'm on a motorcycle with 140 wheel torque, 140 foot-pounds of torque at the wheel,
hands down the fastest bike I've ever ridden in my life. No doubt about it, not even a little bit. This is absolutely bananas fast. Crazy fast. It makes everything else feel kind of slow. And again, stock Hayabusa, not a slow motorcycle at all. That puts down about 165 or 170 at the wheel if you're lucky, especially this Gen 1. This bike makes 240 wheel horsepower. Guys, I cannot adequately explain to you how insane this is. I actually had a guy at the gas station come up to me when I was having the coolant problems and I had to head back. He was in a nice 997 generation Porsche, a 911, and he gets out of his car. He actually was finished up. He was about to head out. I pull up next to him. He gets out of his car, and he goes, "Is that a turbo on that bike?" And I just said, "Yep. Yes, it is." And he said, "That is insane." And I was like, "Yes. Yes, it is." And then he said, "Can I get a picture?" And he got a picture of it, which was awesome. Then he's like, "My buddy's never going to believe me." I was like, "Yeah, it's a really ridiculous bike. It just had a dyno tune." He's like, "What kind of power does it make?" And I was like, 240 at the wheel. He was like, "You guys are nuts. You bikers are insane." And there's definitely that sentiment when you're on this bike and you're rolling around with it. You're like, if you know what this is, and you see someone on a Turbo Hayabusa, you just have to nod your head and be like, that right there is a crazy person. That is a serious weapon of oh my god. Yeah, I adore this bike. You want to talk about squid missile? This is a squid missile, man. This thing's bananas. It's running so butter smooth now with this tune. It's awesome. You can still totally just cruise on the highway with this thing. This is what this bike was designed to do. Just huge highway mileage, cruising on down. God, this bike is cool. It's so raw too, man. Oh, it's my favorite thing about it. It doesn't feel all computer controlled. This bike doesn't even have ABS. It's a cable actuated throttle. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Mechanical simplicity. Yeah, but it's not carbureted, thank God. It's fuel injected, so that's a saving grace. But man, is it good. God damn, dude. Oh, you can get yourself killed with this thing so easily. It's absolutely crazy. This is a ridiculous motorcycle, man. I love this bike. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna keep it forever. This is such a cool experience. There's nothing like this motorcycle. Oh my god! Oh my god, dude. It comes on boost and it just wants to take off into space. What an awesome machine. Absolutely to be wielded by a pretty experienced and mature motorcyclist. I feel like I'm barely mature enough to ride this thing without killing myself. I feel like to own a Turbo Hayabusa, you should be at least 30 years old, and I'm almost there. This is ridiculous, man. What a ride, dude. Oh my god, what a rush to ride this thing. This is awesome. This is exactly the kind of Turbo Hayabusa that I wanted. It's subtle, it still makes a butt ton of power, and like, yeah, sure, I'm sure that there's street motorcycles that would be competitive and probably beat this thing in a straight line, but I'm not a highway drag racer. I don't like doing that. This is for me to enjoy. This is for me to jump on the bike and get on the highway and just goof around and have fun with it. It's not to actually race against people. I have an actual race bike for that. I have my 675R that I do road racing with. I have my dirt bike that I do motocross with. This is something else. This isn't to compete against anything. This is a bike that I built and conceived mostly to just enjoy. All the mods you're going to see on this thing are for me to enjoy it as a motorcycle. I don't want to compete with it or do anything like that. It's just supposed to be a very silly and stupid thing to own and ride, and right now it is succeeding so triumphantly across all those metrics. I cannot believe this motorcycle, man. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous. Temp gauge was going up a little bit. Seems to be going back down. I think we're okay. Coolant's not boiling over. Just doing those final checks to make sure that this bike's not gonna nuke itself. Okay, temp gauge is going up again. I don't like that. If we sit here at idle, it'll start to mellow out a little bit. It's going in the wrong direction. What if we reduce the idle a little bit? Maybe there's air in the coolant hose or something. We gotta bleed the system. It's sitting a little high. I don't like that. I can't tell which direction it's going either. It does appear that it's going in the wrong direction. Yeah, this bike is starting to overheat. So duly noted, you can't really sit at a red light too long with this thing, which is fine. It's not really designed to be a commuter bike. As soon as it gets rolling, the temp comes down. So yeah, temp came way down now. That's good. There's something up with it at idle still. It's still doing something kind of funky. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal, mostly because this bike isn't designed to just sit at idle for a long period of time. You're designed to turn it on, get on the highway, do some pulls, and stop. And you can always turn it off, but yeah, it's not ideal, I wouldn't say, to be doing that. But this is testing phase. We're checking everything, making sure it's all good. We're gonna sit at another red light. I'm just gonna turn it off again.
You guys ever embarked on a project that was just a little bit more than you could chew? You actually took that bite and it was just a little bit bigger than you thought it would be. That's how I feel about this Turbo Busa.